Well, we're at the midpoint of the 2025 WNBA season, and there has been no shortage of storylines for the league. And we're not just talking Clayton Clark. We're talking expansion, of course. We're talking collective bargaining, all of the noise that comes with being a major North American league. So ahead of this weekend's All-Star festivities in Indianapolis, we're bringing in ESPN analyst Andraya Carter to go through some key issues impacting the W. Andraya, thanks for joining us.
Hello, thank you for having me. Of course, it's a great week. So this is a fun week to do things.
Cahillane obviously moves the needle, but while she was out, the league did lose almost half its audience numbers. Games without the Fever are well above average in the past couple of years, but with regard to TV audience numbers, do you feel like Cahillane is a double-edged sword at times?
I don't see how, as far as viewership goes, how it could be seen as a bad thing, in my opinion. I always think people like to look at things in such a small scope, right? So they see a game with the Indiana Fever and they have this number, and then they watch a game without it and they have this number, and it goes up and down in this small window. But as we look at the window over time, it's going up, right? So I think as we take a step back and we just look at the overall growth, right? It's kind of like you look at something, I don't know, I'm not huge into like stocks, but if you look at it, it's up and down and up and down and up and down, but the trend is up. And so for me, Cahillane bringing so many eyes to the game, it's always going to be a good thing in terms of how it grows the game over time. And so I don't really pay much attention to the fall off day to day or game to game or matchup to matchup. What's important to me is the growth over time.
Andraya, Sabrina Ionescu had a lot to say recently toward WNBA Commissioner Kathleen Engelbert. A lot of this seems to be stemming from how this newfound media money is going to be divvied up as collective bargaining negotiations really heat up. So I got to ask, what would a work stoppage potentially do to the momentum that the league has seen in recent years?
Yeah, I think a work stoppage is probably the last thing anybody wants. The league is growing, it's exploding, and we have new teams coming in, new organizations buying in. When you talk about buying in and getting in right now, I mean, this is the time where I think it needs to continue to grow and continue to move forward. So I think it would be a huge, literal momentum stopper if we had a work stoppage. So I do hope that the league and the Players Association, I hope they can get on the same page and figure out what's going to work best for both sides. I love a league with parity. I love a league where, even right now, when you think about, obviously there are some teams dealing with some injuries, but this might be one of the first seasons. Seasons in the past, you kind of knew what 2 teams or what 3 teams were probably going to be in the finals. I love that you don't know that this season. You don't know what teams are going to be in the finals this season. And I also love that teams can go and pull off an upset on the road, and teams can lose at home. And I love the competition level. I think the super teams era is over, in my opinion.
All right. Who's the most marketable WNBA player not named Caitlin Clark right now?
A'ja Wilson comes to mind for me. Obviously, you have a player that's won multiple championships. She's won 3 MVPs. She's competed at the highest level in the Olympics. Stewie is coming off of a championship. Nafisa Collier had an incredible finals run and is putting up MVP numbers this year. And then the two of them launched Unrivaled together. And that's something that, as businesswoman, to me, makes them marketable.
What has been your best moment covering either college or WNBA hoops?
The best moment is always when someone wins a championship. Being able to provide analysis and context and personal stories for the teams that get to hold that trophy is always really special to me, because I know how hard it is. I tried to win a national championship 4 times. Didn't happen. It's hard. It's so hard to do. And there are so many great players who don't win a championship.
All right. Who is an active WNBA player that you think one day is going to be a solid TV analyst?
Well, Leah Boston's great already. So I think, and then maybe this is not fair because she does it already, but I think she does a really good job, and I enjoy listening to Aaliyah when she's on air. I know Olivia Nelson-Ododa mentioned it to me once, that she was interested in doing TV. I'm obviously very biased as a point guard, but I would love to be on a desk with like Natasha Cloud, because she has so much personality, but also can talk the game.
We'll get you out of here on this. You're Kathy Engelbert for a day. What is one big change you would make to the WNBA?
I would probably lengthen the season.
I think the WNBA deserves better for their finals. And this is no shade at the WNBA, but going up against football season on a Sunday with your ABC windows for the league is tough. Like when I say no shade, leagues like the PGA Tour, like IndyCar, have moved off of that September finish so that they're done before Labor Day and not getting crushed by college and pro football. So if the WNBA wants the spotlight on its finals that I think it deserves, it's got to stay out of the way of football somehow.
That's the hardest part about the W schedule in general, because where do you put it? And, do you just trust that the fans will be there and the fans will watch and the eyeballs will be on the championship run for the WNBA versus the early seasons of football? Who knows? I think before, a lot of the schedule, there were some people that ending the W later was hard because these players also had overseas obligations. So it also kind of alludes to, well, if the players are paid well enough to not feel pressure to go overseas, then the schedule lengthening, obviously TV windows aside, Austin, because that's a whole nother issue, but the schedule lengthening doesn't necessarily go close to their overseas obligations because they don't have as many overseas obligations because they're taken care of just by being in the W.
Well, we're going to let the mic drop with that one. Andraya Carter, thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Yeah, I appreciate you all.